As always, you know that you will see these videos at a much later date than I record them. This might go out somewhere in, I don't know, August, September of next year. It's difficult to tell. But today it is the 12th of November of the year 2025, and it is now just before 6, a couple of minutes before 6. I'm still here in Gangtok, Sikkim, northern India, squeezed in between China and Bhutan and Nepal. And the sun is kind of thinking of coming up there in the back. Maybe during the time while I'm recording this, the sun will come up. Now it's time for Exodus chapter 20, the conclusion. A very important chapter, the chapter of the Ten Commandments. It's always so funny, because chapter 20, I always want to say the 20 Commandments. 10 Commandments, or as they're called, the 10 words, Decalogue. 10 logos, word, right? The Decalogue. And there's a little bit of the altar and how they need to bring offerings to God and how they need to do it and how this altar needs to be made out of dirt, and if not dirt, rock, but the rock not supposed to be hewn. So, and then finally, as well as mention of that there mustn't be a ladder or something like that, so the people can't see underneath the clothes and nakedness ultimately of. And we know that, I mentioned in the teaching as well, some people, like when there's a big thing in Korea, I don't know, it was like a year ago, so where they would record or try to record when girls go up steps or escalators or something, like I record under their skirt. So yeah, that's the same kind of idea. So the chapter starts with the 10 words and it ends on that note. A very important thing as well to remember, the context. Okay, so it's said to the Jews as they're going through the desert. So very soon, early on in their travel, on the way to the promised land. Yeah, sure, I'm going to yawn a bit because not only early, but I didn't sleep early, so 5 hours of sleep. Right, so there's this is then nation building that's going on. So first and foremost, a country or a people needs a set of laws to know how to relate to their country, their leaders in general, and to each other, okay, like a constitution. Now, this is then, you can say, a constitution for the Jews, but with a difference, because this is not just any country, this is not just any people, and this is not any leader. Their leader is not just a president or a prime minister with a kind of a king above them, ceremonial king like we have. Well, some countries like in Swaziland, Eswatini, sorry. Not Switzerland. Eswatini, where you have a monarch that rules the country, right, without anyone else aid. We have a few places like that, but Eswatini is the best example. So, and even in their case, the king dies, and another one comes. In this case now, there's a king, but he's God. And he doesn't change. He stays the same. He never changes. He never breaks his word. What is said, he does. one you can fully trust, one who has already shown his worth by how he led him out. So that is how the chapter started as well, with God saying who he is, right? His character, what these people need to understand and not ever forget. It's like he's the one who brought them out of the land of slavery. So a reminder to them that of what he did for them. They were slaves. They couldn't do anything to get out of that land, but he brought them out of that land. Okay? And then immediately after informing them, reminding them who he is and what he's done for them, he tells them as well that they should have no other God. So their worship must not be divided between, this is my national God, that is my personal God, that is my tribal God, right? So like you have tribal gods, you have national gods, and so it's like here in Sikkim, there's different groups living, right? They have different gods. Maybe even a better example, I remember many years ago there in Baikal, on the island of Alkhon, we stayed there with some Russians in the house, and they were Orthodox, and their son was very talkative, about 16 years old, and he spoke about how they're Orthodox, and so they worship God, but you always need to, so the national God is a Russian, but then they live in the island of Khon, and it's Buddha, the Buddha people there are Buddhist, so you need to kind of respect their gods as well, in the sense of kind of show on the local level a worship to the local gods, the nature gods, because they were actually animist, Buddhist animist, and so they had all these statues out of gods, out of wood. Showed me a few of these gods, and I'm in the rock, which is such a holy place for Buddhists there on the island of Alkhon in Baikal. And sure, trust me, they had their local deities, in the sense of who they actually truly worship day by day, their idols. So the different levels of, and God is like, no, this is not how it's. I'm the only God, right? This is not a. You're going to have different levels, gods, and that's fine. It's, as long as you as a group unite and worship me. No, I'm a jealous God. Ultimately, I'm the one who did, not your little personal God, not your higher up tribal God. So, say for example, a family God, and then the gods of Judah, or the gods of Levi, or the gods of Simeon, and then the Jews, the national God kind of idea, right? No, that's not how it works. Not supposed to be. This God is the one who did all of this for them, and so the God is deserving of worship, and God's the only one to be worshipped. So this is how we start. The first word: no other gods before him.